In recent days, subtle signs have begun to surface in conversations among supporters and analysts, creating that uneasy sense that something big was being prepared behind the scenes at Newcastle United. There were no official announcements, nor bold statements from the club, but a growing atmosphere of expectation seemed to intensify with every new rumour. The Newcastle community, always alert, quickly sensed that this quiet movement was no coincidence and that something deserved closer attention. Between comments scattered across social media and debates in supporter groups, it became clear that many wanted to understand what the club's next move would be in the transfer window. At this point, a reminder: if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, it's worth doing so to follow all these developments with clarity and detail. Here, you receive everything in a direct and humanized way, with no unnecessary fluff. Let's continue towards another complete analysis. With this atmosphere building, many began to speculate whether Newcastle were preparing to act boldly in the market, especially after several names began circulating among reliable sources. With each new update, more questions emerged and more anticipation built among those dreaming of signings capable of raising the team's level. Meanwhile, the club's silence only added to the mystery. Even without direct confirmation, it was evident that conversations were happening somewhere, and many of them could change Newcastle's direction in the coming months. It felt as though an important piece of the puzzle was about to be placed, and each new bit of information sparked even more curiosity. The revelation came through David Ornstein, one of the most respected journalists in England, who delivered a significant update regarding Antoine Semenyo, the standout winger from Bournemouth. According to him, despite the intense rumours circulating recently, Newcastle United are not in the race to sign the player. Ornstein reported this scenario on his podcast with The Athletic, a source widely recognized for its credibility within European football. What drew attention is that Semenyo's name had gained momentum earlier in the season, especially after reports emerged that the player has a £65 million release clause. This clause, valid only during the first 2 weeks of the next transfer window, would allow any interested club to trigger it and force Bournemouth into negotiations. However, according to Ornstein, Newcastle have no intention of pursuing that route at this time. Semenyo's performances this season have attracted interest from several major clubs, and for good reason. With 17 direct goal contributions in the Premier League, he has established himself as one of Bournemouth's most valuable assets. His aggressive style, explosive pace and ability to decide matches have made him a target for clubs such as Liverpool, Manchester United and Arsenal, all of whom have been closely monitoring his progress. Ornstein's comments, however, highlighted a crucial point. Newcastle are currently operating with extreme financial caution. The journalist emphasized that although the club maintains high ambition and continues to seek sporting growth under Eddie Howe, there are important financial fair play limitations that must be respected. And if you enjoy analysis that breaks down these issues, subscribing to the channel ensures you don't miss anything happening behind the scenes. Ornstein reinforced that Newcastle recently prioritized strengthening the right side of their attack with the signing of Anthony Elanga, considered an essential piece for this stage of the team. In addition, the club already have Anthony Gordon, who has become one of the most influential players on the left. Within this context, Semenyo does not appear as an immediate priority, and this direct statement strengthens the club's internal stance regarding the player. Another point raised concerns the financial balance required after important negotiations, such as the sales of Yankuba Mina and Elliot Anderson. These departures, which generated much discussion among supporters, were essential to keep the club within financial rules and make room for new signings. Ornstein also mentioned the recent departure of Alexander Isak and the investment made in Nick Woltemade, indicating that Newcastle have been making thoughtful and strategic moves. During Ornstein's analysis, it became clear that Newcastle do not see Semenyo as a likely signing at this moment. This does not mean the club are inactive, but rather that they are focusing on specific priorities and operating within the legal boundaries of the window. If you want to keep following these strategic movements and understand how the club are shaping their path, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapters. Beyond the Newcastle perspective, there is also the player's own situation to consider. Antoine Semenyo has publicly revealed that he is an Arsenal supporter, a detail that naturally creates a connection with the London club, who currently lead the Premier League. In a recent interview, he explained that he grew up watching the Gunners and that this has never interfered with his professionalism, though such a link naturally influences a player's personal preferences. Semenyo has made no secret of his major career ambitions. At 25 years old, the forward has stated that his goal is to play in the Champions League or Europa League, something he views as an objective to be achieved step by step. He acknowledges that this level demands consistency, decisive goals and high-impact performances, and says he has been working his entire life to reach such competitive standards. Interest from English giants such as Arsenal, Liverpool and Manchester United clearly shows Semenyo's value in the market. His dynamic, versatile and efficient style places him among the league's standout wingers, capable of changing games with pace and attacking aggression. However, the situation surrounding his release clause and high market value means that any potential transfer will be approached with caution by interested clubs. It's important to highlight that the news shared by Ornstein about Newcastle's lack of interest brings more clarity to supporters who viewed the possibility with both enthusiasm and financial concern. The transparency offered by the source prevents false expectations and helps explain how the club are planning their next steps. Newcastle seeks stability and long-term planning, factors that are essential in an increasingly competitive Premier League. The board's strategy has been built on careful decisions, prioritizing areas that genuinely require reinforcement and maintaining full alignment with Eddie Howe. This internal harmony is crucial for the club's sustainable growth, especially at a time when pressure for results is constant. With this in mind, the lack of interest in Semenyo should not be seen as a lack of ambition, but rather as a choice aligned with the club's current sporting project. The team continues to monitor opportunities that make sense within the budget and can add real quality to the squad without compromising financial health. From this perspective, it is clear that the board are working with a long-term vision, avoiding rushed decisions.